Ever get that like little urge to maybe just tweak the truth a bit on your resume? Turns out it's a pretty common thing. Resume Genius found that almost half of job seekers have at least thought about it.
Wow.
And some have actually, gone and done it.
It is sort of a tough spot, right? I mean, you want to look good, but how far is too far?
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna really dig into this whole thing today, like why messing with the facts is a bad idea and what could actually happen. And most importantly, how to make your real experience look amazing.
Yeah, and we'll bust some of those myths that might tempt you to stray from the truth,
Right, exactly. So Resume Genius says the top 5 resume lies are bumping up your GPA, making your skills sound better, fudging those employment dates, making your old job title fancier, and even just making up degrees.
It's interesting. Those lies, they all seem like quick fixes, right? Like you're trying to get that instant credibility, but that can backfire big time.
For sure. So speaking of backfiring, let's tackle that misconception that, hey, no one's going to check, right?
Oh, I wish. But studies show that a crazy 95% of companies do background checks now. And with all the tech these days, it's super easy for them to check what you say. So a tiny lie could turn into like a career disaster.
Yikes. Okay, so that whole I got to beat the applicant tracking system thing sound kind of dumb, doesn't it?
Totally. People think they got to like cram their resume with keywords, even if they don't really have those skills. But honestly, those ATS systems, they're built to find real experience and skills. So just focus on your real strengths,
Yeah, makes sense. So being honest is actually the smarter move.
100%. It's kind of like a first date. You wouldn't start a relationship with lies, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay, so last misconception. It's not illegal, so who cares?
Well, lying on your resume might not send you to jail, but it can really mess up your career, getting caught, and sometimes even end up in court.
So even if you think you can get away with it, it's really not worth it.
Exactly. And your resume shows, your professional integrity. Building your career on honesty is always the best way to go.
Absolutely. So we've established that lying is a no-no, but what could actually happen if you get caught?
Well, it depends, right? How bad was the lie and the company's rules? But usually, even a little lie can get you fired right away.
Right, yeah. You're breaking that trust that's like the basis of any job.
Exactly. And in some fields like finance or healthcare, where integrity is super important, even a small lie on your resume could mean losing your license or certification.
Wow, the stakes are high. Okay, so let's switch gears and focus on how can people make an awesome resume without doing anything risky?
That's where those 3 key tips come in. Explaining those employment gaps, showcasing your transferable skills, and tailoring your resume to each job.
Okay, let's break it down. First, those employment gaps. They can seem like a big red flag, right?
Everyone gets nervous about those, but like we said earlier, they don't have to be a deal breaker.
Right. So how do you handle them without making excuses or anything?
Just be upfront and put a positive spin on them. Instead of just dates, use a phrase like career transition exploration. Explain how you use that time to, learn new skills or volunteer.
Yeah, so turn a negative into a positive.
Let's say you took a year off to, care for a family member. Instead of leaving a blank space, you could put a section called Family Caregiving and talk about the skills you developed. Time management, organization, communication.
Show that you were still growing.
Exactly. Employers like people who are self-aware and take initiative. And honesty is always the best policy.
Yeah, it builds trust, which is important in any job.
Absolutely. Okay, now, transferable skills. This is where you can really use your past experience, even if it doesn't seem directly related to the job.
Okay, can you give us an example?
Imagine you're going for a project manager job, but you've mostly done customer service. You might not have the official title, but you probably learned a lot about managing expectations, fixing problems, working under pressure.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Those are all project manager things.
Right, so instead of focusing on what you haven't done, you highlight those skills that show you can do it.
So focus on the skills, not just the job title. But how do you even know what those are and how to show them off?
Think about the core skills you've built over time, no matter what your job title was. Stuff like communication, problem solving, leadership, teamwork. Those are valuable anywhere. And when you describe them on your resume, use action verbs and numbers whenever you can. So instead of Provided excellent customer service. You could say resolved over 95% of customer issues within 24 hours. That helps your resume get noticed by those applicant tracking systems, too.
Okay, so it's about connecting the dots between what you've done and what they want.
Exactly.
Kind of like a balancing act, being genuine, but also strategic.
Yep. Now, last tip. Tailoring your resume. I know it seems obvious, but a lot of people send out the same generic resume to everyone.
It's tempting to just, cast a wide net, right?
I know, but it's a mistake. Your resume shouldn't be one size fits all. It needs to be tailored to each specific job.
Okay, so how do you do that without spending hours on each one?
Look at the job description and find those keywords and phrases. Those are the skills and qualifications they're looking for. Then make sure your resume uses those keywords and shows off the experiences that match.
So you're, speaking their language and making it clear you're the right fit.
Exactly. You want your resume to really resonate with them.
Okay,
So instead of saying managed social media accounts, you'd say boosted Instagram engagement by 15% using a targeted content strategy. See,
Yeah.
It's way more impactful.
oh yeah, that's much better. And it shows you can actually measure your success, right? Adds credibility.
Exactly. Numbers are powerful.
Awesome. So we've covered a lot in this deep dive. Honesty, storytelling, transferable skills, and tailoring. As we wrap up, what's one final piece of advice you had for our listeners?
The job search can be tough, but it's also a chance to learn and grow.
Yeah, it's a time to think about your skills, what you value, what you really want to do.
Exactly. Enjoy the process, be yourself, and trust that the right job will come along.
And remember, be honest, be authentic, and be strategic. That's how you create a resume that truly represents you.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you learned some valuable tips and feel ready to create resumes that show off your amazing potential.